Hey there, Alan Brokken, the cool dad everybody talks about. At least that's what my kids call me. Here from parts unknown while I'm on vacation. This week's episodes are going to be just a little different, as I've tried to really take a solid vacation when I'm out and about. So we're going to be reaching back to the Two Dads and a Joke archive. My buddy JJ Johnson, who you might know as the geeky dad everybody talks about, because he's got the show Geeky Dads Talk About Geeky Things. Is going to be joining me for these episodes. And I just want to say, vacation's super important. I mean, we didn't always have money to go places. A lot of times we did stuff like, we had a staycation one time where the big event was throwing stuff off the deck. So here's some tips and tricks today and throughout the week on family life. But when I think about last week's show, talking about who's got your back, JJ's got my back. He's a good friend of mine, helped me out a lot. And I think, this week's verse really goes with that. So, make sure you're breathing. Do your deep breath in, out through your nose. Keep breathing throughout this. Just kind of clear your head and listen to this episode about family life. And while you're doing that, be thinking about this week's verse. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. That's Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. So without any further ado, why don't we kick off this episode from the archives? Why don't vampires like Motown?
I have no idea.
Because they got no soul.
Oh, okay.
So I thought, this time around for this season, we would get into a serious topic dealing with kids that was kind of important to my kids growing up, and probably a point there, everybody, is money.
Oh, yeah.
One of the big things that you got to be careful that the splurge doesn't become a lifestyle.
Exactly.
So, if you find yourself that, and I'm making this up a bit, but you find yourself Thursday afternoon, you're fried usually, and you find that, 3 Thursdays in a row, you decide I'm splurging and bringing home the Chick-fil-A, all of a sudden everybody starts to think Thursday's Chick-fil-A day, and you start to think Thursday's Chick-fil-A day, and now something that wasn't really a budgeted, planned thing becomes a thing.
It becomes a habit.
And so I think... Yeah, the habit. And so the biggest thing I can say from kids that are now, I got a 19-year-old in college that's trying to, manage her money very well and stay out of debt as much as possible, and then a 17-year-old about the same spot. Early on, the big thing that we try to teach our kids is, are you splurging from margin? Okay, it's this idea of in your budget, did you build in margin? Did you build in a place to go blow some money? We follow the Dave Ramsey stuff pretty consistently throughout our marriage, and he talks about blow money.
Yeah.
Right? The reality of it is, if you don't plan that, you will blow money.
Right.
There isn't a human out there that I've ever met that won't find a time to blow money. I know some pretty tight penny pinchers, but even they have a thing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Whether it's a fancy... Yeah, a book, a fancy coffee, whatever it is, everybody has a thing. And so building that blow money margin in to your life to know that, we've got this amount, and for the next couple of weeks, we're not going to have Chick-fil-A Thursday because we went to the pumpkin patch or whatever this weekend. That's totally cool. That's sort of a almost a righteous splurge. I don't want to call it that, but it's that intentionally building margin into your money. And where people get in trouble is, instead of saying no, they say yes on a credit card, and now that credit card is taking 15% of what that was worth every month till you deal with it, and it starts to be this rollover 15%. And I think that's where what you don't want to do is get your margin from a credit card. You want to have enough discipline to at least, I know I only have $2 this week for something extra, so the $2, I guess I'm going to buy a big Coke for my kid at the convenience store, right? I mean, that might be all you can get for $2 that week. Yeah. But I think that's really the trick is with kids is teaching them how to build margin in up front. And so, and along those lines, like my kids, I started having them buy their own clothes and stuff when they hit 13, because it puts them in a position where it's like, well, so do I go to the movies with my friends? I can't really do that this week because I really need a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Right, and it starts to build that younger, where if they do get themselves in a mess, you can help them out, whereas opposed to later in life where you might not have the extra to help them out of the mess they got in.
Yeah. I've also noticed that when we use our blow money as cash, it allows us to not go over that margin as well.
Absolutely.
If you're just using your checking card, check card, bank card, debit card, whatever it is you're using, I've always noticed that we always go over what we intend to spend, but there's something about physically having it in your hand that doesn't allow you sometimes to necessarily go over. Because, I mean, once it's gone out of your hand, I mean, there's no more left to spend. So I found that that's always helped us in the past as well. And we do not practice that as much as we should. And I think that's a thing that helps. It's just a kind of a self-conscious thing where you just kind of notice it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So. No, the data on that's super clear. That if you're using cash, you spend less money.
Right.
And that's why everybody, McDonald's and everybody, went to credit cards, even though there's a credit card fee. You're going to spend more because you're not looking at it going, oh, that's money I'm not going to have tomorrow for lunch.
Right.
When we think about margin and what happens to your wallet when you use cash and it's all gone, it can get kind of flat.
It's true.
But you know what else can go flat? Pumpkins. You ever seen a flat pumpkin?
I have not seen a flat pumpkin.
Like the end of the season, they kind of get flat.
Okay.
You know what time it is when your pumpkin goes flat?
No.
Time for a pumpkin patch. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Dad Word. Next week I'll be back with our normal episodes. In the meantime, if you want to check out the links in the bio, you'll find some great entertainment and maybe some more dad advice. Thanks.